Hi everyone, today we have Vibhor with us. Vibhor is an expert in Agile methodology of software development and he also has a lot of experience in project management. So today we are going to talk about Agile methodology and how it can help a lot of startups who are in software domain. So we would like to start with a small introduction of Vibhor. So Vibhor, please.
Sure. Thank you for having me. And about me, I consider myself a student of software craftsmanship. I believe in creating sustainable solutions in software and something that gives high value with low money. So I believe that's a big need of startups these days. I'm working as a software architect at Trantor, and I'm contributing to the software engineering processes group over here, as well as the architects group at Trantor. And I also collaborate with the local communities here. Like I'm also the co-owner of the Agile Chandigarh, as well as the Null and Awards community. And I have a vision. To put Chandigarh on the world map, known for its quality software deliveries. So that's my mission. So again, thank you for having me.
Okay. So Vibhor, can you tell us what is a technical architect? What are his job responsibilities? What does he do? And in the end, just let us know how important that technical architect is in a startup who is developing a product where technology is playing a role of an enabler in that particular startup.
Mm-hmm. So technical architect, in a formal sense, technical architects are supposed to be creating a grand solution and also helping implement them. My designation varies by the nature of my job. It's not really aligned. I don't create those grand solutions and then help them create them. What I do is I help creating self-organizing teams. I believe that it is never that there's one grand guy in the room who knows everything. Everyone likes to believe that there's someone some superpower who knows everything, who has all the experience, who has the complete knowledge to create the perfect solution and then just hand it over to someone. I do believe that the individuals, they're already equipped with everything they need to execute. So helping them, nurture them, coach them to bring that out, to make them believe that their ideas are not lesser worthy than anyone else's. So irrespective of designation. So again, my designation does not align with my ideas around it, but I have helped startups like Speezy to create a sustainable solution, and also helped channel in which direction the technology goes over there. I've helped create a lean solution that also does not require a lot of computing power, as well as can sustain a lot of users. So that's related to my job as a software architect.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us how did you end up here in this job profile? Like, what are your background and then what did you do? How much experience do you have? And how you are, what you are now?
Sure. Okay. Again, going back in time, I joined CA Technologies in about 2008. It was a college placement from Chitkara, and I joined CA in Hyderabad as an associate software engineer. I contributed to this product called ERWin Data Modeler. So it's the best data modeling tool in the market. I met amazing people to work with over there. The greatest mentors that I've had, they have been from there. Like also you might be knowing Manpreet Singh from SourceFuse. He's been a mentor, great mentor. I met him there, and several others. So I I, I gradually, gained ownership of several core modules over there. I spent 3 years there. Then I found Foundation 3, which was a startup. So owned by Pradeep Bakshi, Sriram Iyer and Raman Kapoor, the owners of Trantor. So Trantor started as a startup, this Foundation 3. It turned into real traction, and later it became this big software services company. So I've seen this company grow from 5 to 400 now. So that's been again, a crux of my journey, from how I landed to Trantor. There has been a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of great projects, many startups. The conductive was there. I specialize in product development, creating something from a concept, something in thin air, creating a castle in the sky, and delivering it.
Okay. Let's come to Agile methodology. Like, can you just explain it for the techies or people who understand software development? What is Agile methodology and why it is a preferred way for startups?
Sure. So there is a formal understanding of agility. Many people understand Agile by the common known frameworks like Scrum, Kanban, XP. In my experience, I've boiled it all down to getting early feedback. That's what agility is all about. It's about getting early feedback. All the frameworks, everything. It all comes down to one statement: getting early feedback. Let's again, to understand how agility helps startups, we need to understand the concerns of startups. One is, you have an idea that you want to present to your end users. You have already identified a need. Maybe like SPG, how it started is they identified a need to collaborate across the globe. Two brothers, Indian origin, Indian born, living in Nigeria and globally educated. These guys, they wanted to collaborate across the globe for music. So they would send attachments over email to their friends. Maybe they played a nice guitar tune, they would send it to New York, and someone would sing on top of it, send it back to them. So that was the need. So that was the concept. Okay, SPG, we need something that can ease this communication. This started with that. So that's how startups come in, idea. So then they figure out, okay, this is the amount of funds that we have. Maybe working capital or whatever seed funding that they have received. Now they have to also invest in maybe infrastructure. Maybe they have to buy servers, they have to purchase tools, whatever. Maybe they have to purchase a domain name, something. Plus they also have to keep aside a working capital for operations, for software development. So the biggest concern for any startup is, one, time to market. How early can they present the product to their users so that they can get a feedback? Is this what you want? I think that this is what you want, but is it really what you want? So software industry is such that, softwares, you don't know what you want unless you see it. So that's one biggest challenge, time to market. The other is, not burning through your operating cash. Whatever cash that you have set aside for your operations for, let's say, 1 year, 2 years. So your lifeline, that's one of the major concerns. Can you pay the bills? Maybe after 6 months, you guys have worked with startups. That's one of the things I've seen that startups fail most with. So how Agile helps? One, quick time to market that validates the idea. Many ideas are not working. Many product ideas, sometimes we think that someone needs it, but unless we show it to them, that's, the user might say, when you are hunting for prospects, you might say, I'm creating this product, would you like to buy it? They might say, yeah, I will pay for it. But when you actually hand it over to them, they say, this is not worth it. So then all the cost
Mhm.
that you have already spent on building it, you're not able to recover it. So that's one reason that startups fail. So how do we create the minimum viable product such that that core offering, instead of waiting for creating all the frills? Like a good example is Microsoft Office.
Mhm.
Let's say Microsoft Office had to launch today, scratch. There's no word processor out there. They could have come up with, okay, 2-year plan. We will have a word processor. We will also have formulas. We would also support scripting. We would also have support for external data sources. That's how product owners they think. How would it be having 100 different features? But the reality is only 20% features give 80% of value. So how do we identify those 20% of features? So Agile frameworks, they have those built-in checks and balances. How do you find out priorities? Like Scrum, you call it your backlog grooming. There's a designated product owner. They help bubble up all the highest priority features. So what they say is, okay, let's execute top to down.
I'd like to break you here
Sure.
just for a moment. Like you're saying that MVP is a statement that what is the best MVP for a product? It can be, Agile will help us in letting us know that what is that MVP. And I would like to particularly know about this, that how Agile will help us know. Why I would like to know about it is that let us say I have a product idea in my mind, or let's say any startup has it. Now, if I am now going to a software company, let's say Tranton only, and then saying that I have this idea, how Tranton will help me understanding that particular, what is the MVP? Let's say my product is for wholesalers. Now, do you engage those kind of people in Agile methodology, or is it somewhere on some rating system, some kind of tools which you use by virtue of which, let's say these are 10 features, we give some numbers, some formulas there, and by these are the 4 highest numbers, and these are the features which we need to launch out for creating an MVP.
So if I talk specific to Trento, we, again, this whole thing that you just described, this even falls before agility. Like we would ask, what is the thing, what is the vision for the product? Then what we do is, we play the devil's advocate to also validate that idea. Like again, based on our experiences also, we try to question. Like, have you actually, tried it? Why do you think users need it? Unless they are able to quote, like, like Speedy did. Like, okay, this is the real need that we have seen, exchanging, files over email. That was a real need that they found, and their friends found it. For that, they're creating the product. Unless they are able to justify, we advise them not to burn their cash. We advise them to do some more market research before starting. That's one. That's even earlier feedback. Like software development is a costly endeavor. Software engineers are highly paid, and you can quickly burn through your cash. So we as a company, we have this policy of giving maximum value to our customers. And that even means saying no. So many times we say no, please validate your idea. Or we'll say, okay, start with this thing. Maybe all you need is a Facebook page. Why do you need a complete website? Maybe all you need to start is a Facebook page. We'll say no. We would coach them. We would advise whatever we think is the best for them. If they still say no, this is exactly what we want based on our market research. We also do our own market research. We have our ways of, okay, we designate a team, like, okay, this is our product team. They would diverge. They would come up with their own ideas. They would converge back, discuss them through. And they would come up with, okay, this is what we think should be the MVP. So again, no Agile coming into picture right now. So this is again something of, the value system also. It's individualistic. Do you really, believe in, okay, extracting the maximum money out of, the end customer, or is it about giving the value? The value might be good advice. Like maybe this is not good for you. Some people think that they need MVP. Like there was one such prospect. They wanted to convert analog videotapes into digital form. They said, okay, we'll take those tapes also, we'll take photographs, we'll scan them, we'll give back to our end users, our customers. People want to pay for it. Okay. So the next question was, okay, why don't you, just start it? Why do you need a website for it? Why do you need a web app? They said, okay, we want to have a web app so that we can also create a family tree out of the photos. We'll also tag those photos for you. So the question was, okay, the core is that, the core idea that people want to pay is for getting their analog photos converted into digital. That's the core service offering that they need. Maybe all they need is a telephone number. Just call us. We'll collect your photos. Pay us 2,000 or whatever for this stack of photos, and we'll deliver back the digital copy to you. So that was the core offering. So that was our recommendation to them for their MVP, the core service, and then start generating the revenue and pump back the revenue into your frill services, which could be maybe your family tree. Tagging can be an add-on service. So that conversation, once we have that with startups, it's like, a lightning bulb, ting, over there. That's really powerful. And it goes beyond agility. Then agility, when does agility come in? Okay, the idea is validated, everything is good. Now it's about, okay, let's execute. How do we execute? We have decided this is the MVP. There are also some good to have features, which also add the wow factor to it. There are many, good frameworks that also help you identify. Okay, you create a tabular form. In tabular form, you start writing, okay, feature A, what is the wow factor? What is the core value? So you plot your features on all of these so that you can rate them. Okay, is this something priority 1 or priority 3? Maybe you need a wow factor in your product to differentiate yourself in the market. So those tools help do it.
This is probably one such tool which I wanted to hear about, that where you categorize the features into good to have, must to have, and like it's okay,
Right.
okay type, okay to have. So are there any more tools? I'm sorry I'm asking again, because there might be some tech audience which would like to understand more about Agile. So one such tool is where you prioritize, you give numbers, or you come to a particular metrics and decide that these are my top 5 or some kind of features where I launch an MVP. Are there any more tools in this whole process? Like what is the cycle of iteration? Like I would like to understand more about it in Agile, where you launch an MVP. How do you decide which are the next set of features and whether the previous set of features require an iteration or not?
Okay, excellent question. So how, again, coming to tools with a little theory, how that cycle works. How that cycle works is, let's say in Scrum, let's take Scrum as an example. What Scrum says is create your product backlog first. Like the features that we discussed. Okay, we'll need a place wherein people can place order. We need a page wherein they can maybe create an account, then fill up a form which says this is my address, please pick 200 pictures from here, and I'm paying it right there. You guide them through the payment process, and the order is created. You track the order throughout the system. Many features are coming in out of this. So now, when you have to create, execute it basically. So you create a product backlog. Okay, feature 1, which is sign up. Feature 2, which is a form, order form. Feature 3, accept payment from PayPal. Feature 4, accept payment from Google Pay, or some credit card processing gateway. So once you have these go into your product backlog.
Okay.
Now the team, what they do is periodically they keep figuring out the complexity. They give complexity points on top of each of the user story. That's what it is called. Every feature is a user story in Scrum. You give
so these 5 features is one backlog.
One product backlog.
One backlog. So there are multiple backlogs like this.
Yeah.
Okay, right. And you, in these backlogs to all these features, you give a priority list or something, or complexity number, something.
Absolutely.
Right.
So it is never rigid.
Okay.
It is never rigid. You can keep adding more. You can keep removing them. You can keep changing the complexity based on new information. You can keep reprioritizing it.
All right.
So anything that is on the top is considered highest priority. Anything towards the bottom is considered okay. It is good to have.
Okay.
So then what the teams do is, based on their complexity point, they would estimate, okay, let's say in the next 2 weeks we can execute 20 complexity points. So what they do is they say, okay, we'll create a sprint backlog. So 2-week iteration is called a sprint. Let's say 7 team members, which would be developers, quality assurance, DevOps. You create a team. Okay, 20 complexity points. You pick up the highest user stories, in the rank, and 20 complexity points, pull them into your sprint backlog. So this is the second kind of backlog, which is a sprint backlog, which is for your next iteration. You say, okay, I will deliver this much. Complete. Completely coded, completely tested, everything done, deployed to the server. So that is the definition of that. Okay, so you execute this, that becomes an increment after 2 weeks. Delivered. Anything that is half-baked, you put it back into your product backlog. You say, okay, we never take prisoners. It's like fully done, fully killed, or nothing. So we say, okay, send them back into a product backlog. So now you also got a feedback, that I can maybe execute 16 points only. So that becomes a knowledge, data point. That 16 points is the capacity of this team. Next time you again pick.
So you benchmark there.
Yeah, their capacity also.
So just one more question here. Let's say from this point of view, you see Agile always have a time frame, right? That we are going to end this project in this time.
So there are 2 things. One is the release, like release plan. The other is the sprint. Let's say every 2 weeks you are creating a new iteration. It could be, let's say, you're creating a phone. Let's say we have to create this phone. So what are the different features over here? There's a LCD to display, whatever you're typing. There are also numpad. So my first iteration could be, given that I press 1, it should show 1. In 2 weeks, all I will deliver is, when I press 1, it will show 1. When I press 2, it will show 2. When I press 0, it will show 0. When I press dial, it will dial. Is it releasable? Maybe not. You cannot just ship it to market. A minimum viable product would be making calls. Maybe not having an address book or something. So minimum viable product, you say, at least being able to create a number, input a number and making a call, and then the other person should be able to receive it and be able to converse. That's the minimum viable product. Keeping all the frills aside. Anything, just keeping it aside. You say that is my release plan. And you would still, have those in place. Maybe there's a road show coming up. Or maybe there's a investor meet coming up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What I'm actually trying to ask is that, let's say after first sprint, so we saw that okay, we had to deliver. These were the 5 feature sets which I was expecting, and only 3 are there, and my release plan is there. So the project management team, what does it do? Like, do they put in extra hours, or do they bring in more people into the team, or they say that okay, we have not estimated this in the right way, and so.
That is an excellent question. You can see it in 2 ways. One is failure. You planned 20, you delivered only 16. That's failure. Work hard. That's the obvious answer. We are working towards a schedule. There is an investor meet 4 months down the line. We have to meet it. We have to give the MVP over there. Now what do? Either you increase the working hours or you change something. But the good thing to note over here is you also want consistency. You don't want 1 week my team is giving 20, next week they are giving 30, third week they are giving 10. Well, this is the predictability. One thing is putting wool on your eyes, saying I don't care, maro or kaam karo. There will be a point wherein either people fall sick or maybe they will just leave or something bad will happen. So there is no consistency. There has to be also predictability for a startup also. Let's say you want to really predict 4 months down the line, you really need to ship this product. Maybe another way of looking at it is, okay, given this team size, our capacity is 16. Let's work towards 2 more iterations. Next sprint, you might be giving 25. Maybe there was also a few work in progress items. We have already worked on those 4 data points. It was like partially done, maybe just not tested. Maybe they will also add into the next sprint. So you might get a sudden spike.
So just a question again here.
Yeah.
So you decide a sprint every time you start it, or the sprints are already decided. These are 10 sprints, and you give those sprints to client that these are the sprints. So first sprint I couldn't deliver, so I add the remaining features into next sprint, or how do we do it?
So the sprint backlog is decided every 2 weeks after every iteration.
Okay.
Maybe based on the feedback from the previous sprint or any new data that came in, maybe the priorities also changed. Think about it. Maybe the feature that you thought was the most important, that was in the previous sprint, maybe that de-escalated. Maybe they said, it's taking too much time. We underestimated it. If we work on this, maybe we will never, meet the target. Maybe, these keys were so hard to press. Boiling it, making it press and everything is so hard. So maybe, having an alternative, maybe cut, A brand keys, maybe we need a different brand over there. Taking that decision right there and then maybe prioritizing and changing priorities, recalibrating, and then choosing your next sprint. That is done there and then, after every iteration.
Okay.
So, to your answer, so that is the thing.
Yeah.
So, after, again, about getting those data points, it is called velocity. Over the time, you get a consistent velocity. You expect a consistent velocity. One sprint, 2 weeks is nothing, in this world.
I think you just benchmark in that period that okay, this is the capacity of the team.
Precisely.
And then you reiterate your whole plan as well, maybe.
Precisely. So it's like, initially you might get a lot of crests and troughs, and over the time it should become something smooth.
Yeah.
Because the team will know their own capacity. This assumes a constant team. That 5 people, the same people are working together. Maybe you corrected early. You got your feedback, given 16 points, we are never going to meet it. Maybe you need 2 more people to add it after 2 weeks, rather than at the end of, before the meet, 1 month before, at the 3rd month, if you do the same, imagine the case. Now, those people also trying to onboard. The software industry is notorious for failures. Planning for 4 weeks and delivering in 8, that is known. So what this gives you is quick feedback. Again, that circles back to the original point. Quick feedback. What is the capacity of the team? Let's say you are outsourcing. In 2 weeks, you will know what is the quality of the deliverables that you're getting, because they are in front of you. When you press the button, you also got the feedback. Was it nice to press? Did it give you a good user experience? Maybe when you press it, the number comes in after 2 seconds. That's a bad user experience. Knowing it early rather than later. Because these things you cannot correct suddenly. Maybe you can, maybe you cannot. But knowing it after 2 weeks rather than after 3 months, that gives a huge value to any startup.
Okay. So just I would like to discuss a little bit about difference between Agile and Waterfall. Like, why do people choose Agile and not Waterfall? Like, I will just like to take a scenario. Let's say I have to create an enterprise level product, and I don't need any MVPs. Of course, when it is at a stage, either we do the testing ourselves, or we can't just take it to the market, or it is an in-house product. I have my own industry, I'm running it, and I know what I need. Right? So my people are there working as a domain consultant, working with you, and they are testing it regularly, all the sprints, whatever. But for them, it is more important to get the right product. It doesn't matter, the cost is little variable, the time is little variable. So I mean, maybe is that a scenario where we pick Waterfall, or are there more, or is it not still Agile is better there? Like, why do people choose Agile over Waterfall? Just one more question. Do still people pick Agile in big projects over Waterfall? Do they do that, or Waterfall is the better?
Okay, so the pros and cons of both, weighing them against each other. Waterfall versus agility. So waterfall works great in cases wherein you know the specs really down to the detail, huge detail, you know. And also in cases wherein you know the budget is constrained. Let's say it's an outsourcing model. You know. The customer comes in, I have $2,000, I need this thing. Then you cannot be changing the things. You know it's contractual. $2,000, this is my output. Then you have to be very specific. You know, you have to list down all the assumptions and constraints in detail. Okay, this is the phone that you want to create for $2,000. We have to know, you know, given this brand of keys, this printing, this kind of LCD, and this is the font, you know, to that minutest level. They have to be, you know, detailed upfront. So you create a SOW, you create a detailed spec. That's where, you know, traditional BAs come in, business analysts, they document everything. You spend like 1 or 2 months just documenting the thing. You put that in your costing. And upfront you say, I can do it or I cannot do it, based on all the assumptions and everything. So waterfall works great in those cases. I'm not saying that it will be successful or not. You know, there can be slippages. Maybe you know what will happen is when you get feedback, maybe after 6 months, at that point of time it will be a change request because you will bring out your contract. You know, I said this is the assumption. The keys will be this brand, this quality. I don't take any guarantees. You know, if it did not work. So they sign on the assumption. Now that the assumption is untrue, we bring out the contract. There will be some heartburn, you know, by the customer. Like, why didn't you tell me earlier? You know, you were developing it to work. But then it becomes a change request. When you sign another thing, another contract, this will cost $200 more, changing this. So that's where it works great. Agility, where it works great is product development, where it's an idea, it's a concept. You know, it's not proven either. Maybe a new kind of polygon phone. No one has seen it ever. Maybe the first iPhone. No one has seen it. No one knows how it will look like. Create your first MVP. Bring it to the market. Get the feedback in quickest time possible and deliver. Agile works great in those cases. Again, there could be other places wherein you might use waterfall. It could be a very proven model, you know, like I want to create a new social network, create a Facebook clone. Many people come in with those kind of requests and need a Twitter clone. What's the difference? Oh, it will be private. You know, we got that request. It will be private messages only, or it will expire. They say the tweets will expire after 1 day. So, not a great idea, maybe, but you know, the person says, I'll pay you. We caution them, maybe we don't believe in it. No, I'm pretty sure. Here's my money on the table, do it. Okay? So, you create a detailed spec based on a reference, and you just execute it.
Maybe we can just categorize it into that, you know, when you're creating something new from concept, then you go to Agile. But when you are more sure of the requirements for what I really want to create, and it is already working somewhere in some form, then you know you can go to waterfall.
You can also classify based on, again, Cinefin framework. Dave Snowden, he has come up with a framework called Cinefin framework. Some problems are simple. Simple problems are like, you know, manufacturing bulbs. You know, this is how bulb looks like. You can replicate it. You know, you can create a detailed process. This is how bulbs are made. You can keep tweaking the efficiency. Once a production line is set up, you can keep improving it. Those are simple problems. There are another category of problems which are complex problems, wherein you have to inspect and adapt. You do something, you inspect and adapt, based on the feedback. So there has to be a tight feedback loop. If your problem lies in the complex domain, do it with agility.
I would like to know that, like you just let us know that you watched a company grow from 5 people to some 400 people. So just let us know how was the experience, what was the what were you feeling, what was the environment or feelings of the people in the company, and what do you feel is the most important factor, why they grew so fast, like maybe an advice for a software person who is going to start a software company or something like that.
Sure. So, I might have, very little influence in the growth. Most of the credit, it goes to sales. As in, Pradeep Bakshi, Sriram here, serial entrepreneurs, they have excellent history of delivering successful solutions. You might have known Second Foundation. This was owned by FIS, this building earlier. Before that, it was with Second Foundation. FIS was Second Foundation. They were the same owners. So they are very well known in the circles, very well respected, and excellent people to work with. And the way that they believe in values and customer delight, that's why they grew from 5 to 400. How I have contributed and what's been my journey throughout. One, I joined as product. Then, when we got the initial project, putting in your heart and soul into delivering them, working day and night. And the first one, I remember, it was for third pillar. They were crunched on time. They had to deliver for Bank of America. Some application. It came to us like, it is 80% done. We've seen it work. Just do the rest of 20%. And I ended up rewriting it all because it wasn't feasible either. So delivering with that, with good customer satisfaction, that might have contributed to it. And it has always been fun. So creating software is like playing God. It's like you have everything in front of you. It's like there's nothing. As in, you have all the raw materials with you. All you need is computer. There's bits and bytes, floating around the operating system. And then you orchestrate into something, something musical. That's like playing God, creating something out of thin air. So it's been fun. It's been amazing. And it's been, I see it like an art rather than an engineering domain. So it's always amazing creating software.
What do you think is future of Agile? Is there some more better methodology is going to come in, or people are going to use it, or whether this is, where is it going? Is it improving? New things coming in, new tools coming in, something, just a little bit about that.
That's an excellent question. There is a lot of upheaval in the Agile community in current time. There have been some high-profile exits recently in Scrum Alliance over ideology. People have accused of Scrum Alliance to not inspect and adapt with time. Okay.
That's,
it's, if you
that's ironical.
Yeah. So it's like a paradox. Scrum, it is all based on inspect and adapt.
Yeah.
And there was a recent quote by Andy Hunt. He says, when was the last time when there was a major change in Agile? When do you remember? A major change in Agile? It was like that is true. It's been a really long time since the change. There are people who are concerned, they have come up with solutions, like Andy Hunt has come up with the flows methodology. What he says is, these frameworks, they have prescribed philosophies, they have been good at that. But they haven't given, what should I do? What is that immediate thing? When you read about agility, you feel very good. It's nice and warm feeling in your stomach. But what should I do next? And they are coming up with checklists. As a developer, what should I be doing next? What are the different maturity levels? Maybe level 1. At least you should be doing these agile practices. So he's coming up with that methodology. So similarly, Kanban is also picking up. It's been pervasive. Recently, there's been the lean Kanban community. There are also people trying to scale agility, like SAFe framework, DAD. somehow, I feel it is a lot commercialized. There's a lot of focus on certifications rather than the real core value of agility. That's a big challenge. One is vertical scaling of agility, which is like, okay, given in an organization, scaling agility throughout the organization. The other is horizontal scalability, which means, okay, I am enlightened by the practices. How do I pass on that enlightenment to the guy next to me? I feel that many of the people who are coaching, who are pretending to be agile coaches, they don't have the charisma or the right understanding of agility to be able to pass on the values. So it's not enough to attend a 3-day course and then say I'm a master. That's what's happening. You get a certificate after 2 days course and then you say I'm a coach. That really works out.
That's more theoretical. Yes.
Exactly. So where are your values that you're passing? Like any good teacher, there are so many teachers out there who would read a course and maybe they would be certified by what are those certifications? Teacher certifications. They would say, yeah, I'm a teacher. But you can also, if you go back, reminisce on your experiences, you would be able to identify these were the teachers who actually taught me, who have made me who I am. And the other teachers were just narrating something that they learned. So that's the kind of difference that is there. We need more good teachers who are the coaches, not just certified coaches, but actually who have experience delivering with agility the right frame of mind and also good coaching skills.
Could you just give a final word to all the people, all the techies who are interested in being a software engineer or who are software engineers, want to learn Agile or whatever in this field they want to grow? What should be the those a few lines for them, or someone who is going to start a software company, what he should take care of? What should they learn or whatever? Like how do they be master in this particular field?
Okay, again, another excellent question. How should someone master something? It's like, people have written about it. So there's Robert Greene, he has a book on mastery. It takes a lot of practice. It's not like, you learn a book and then you master something. You need practice a lot, refine your craftsmanship. Think of it like, let's say you are a carpenter. How do you create the best table ever without any joints? The best table ever seen. The first table that you create might be unfinished. Inspect and adapt. The second table that you create should be better than the first one. The third one should be better than the second one. Keep reading, keep attending meetups, keep watching videos, like enablers, listen to leaders talk about, the only way to, there's a very nice saying by some unknown person. Someone said, okay, I can see far because I stand on the shoulder of giants. Have good mentors in place. Be humble. Having the humility to say that I don't know. Or, whatever be the stage of your career. Saying that, accepting it, that you can never know everything. Keep learning, keep doing. Only 2 ways of mastering.
I think that was an excellent conversation we had with you. Thank you so much for having me.
It was nice being here.
Same.